Yeah, so I use Sublime text editor. Atom is another one that I've heard is really good. And the other one that I've heard is pretty good is also VS Code. Sublime is really basic. It works fine. I think if I was doing more actual, coding, writing things in Ruby, whatever other language, then I would probably want something beyond Sublime. But just for like basic HTML index, page text editing, I find Sublime is fine. But what I'll do is I'll just share my screen and kind of go through, like the whole routine that I go through when I get ready to edit a page. So I have GitLab.com saved in a folder on my desktop called GitLab Project. And the reason that I put www.gitlab-com in that project is because I used to have, you can also download GitLab the product on your computer if you want to. I used to have it downloaded because I used it to like help answer community questions a lot if I was looking for things and where they existed in the product, but I don't do that anymore. So I deleted it because it takes up a lot of space. So I'm just saying that because you don't have to put it in. This folder is now, I don't need this extra layer of a folder anymore. It could just be this on my desktop. So if I'm getting ready to edit something or create a new page or anything in the handbook, the first thing I have to do is open my terminal and I have to navigate to this folder. And the way that you do that in your terminal is by, and if I'm going too fast on anything, just tell me to stop. So you have to change your directory. And also just want to note too that I use the commands that I use. I don't necessarily completely understand why I use them. I don't have a full understanding of the commands themselves, but I know what they do and like what order to use them in. So this is like a dumbed down version of GitLab, I think.
I literally used to have a sticky note right on my computer right here that was like all the commands, and I would just like copy and paste them in.
Mm-hmm. So. Yeah, and I also I have learned that Google in the Git like documentation is my best friend, because there's a few commands that I use infrequently, but maybe once a month, and I have to search them. And that's something I learned very early on in my coding boot camp, is like learning how to code, it means you know how to use Google. So usually if you type whatever command or whatever error comes up in your terminal into Google, you can find the answer pretty quickly. So I open up my terminal and I need to get to this folder. So first I have to do change directory to my desktop. And then you can see it has my name in the terminal, and then it tells me what folder I'm in. So I know that I'm on my desktop. And then from there, I have to go to my project folder. And then from there, I have to go to gitlab.com. So I think that there's a way that you can just do that with backslashes, so you don't have to do 3 different commands. You can just do desktop /GitLab project /www.gitlab.com, but it's just like a habit that I have that I do it 3 separate. So now I know that I'm in this folder, which means I can start to access all of the pages that are within gitlab.com. The first thing that I do, and I'm not actually going to run the whole thing right now because it takes a lot of bandwidth and can take a little bit of time, is I check the status of my local copy of gitlab.com in comparison with the remote copy of gitlab.com. So when you download gitlab.com from GitLab to your local computer, you have to make sure that it doesn't update automatically. You have to make sure that you update it all the time. Otherwise, changes that are made in the origin of the project aren't going to show up on your computer. So the way that you kind of check if you're up to date or not is a few different commands. So you can type the command git status at any time, and what it's going to tell you is what branch you're on and the status of that branch. And it will give you some information as to like, are there things that aren't saved, are there things that aren't up to date, and give you some vision, I guess, of where you are in the project. So right now I'm checked out on this branch. And so I think I'm going to take a step back and explain like branches and merge requests. So when you're working in Git, when you're ready to make a change to the origin project, you want to check out to a new branch, make your changes in that branch, and then that whole branch is uploaded to the main project where the changes are accepted and made to that main branch. That's what's really cool about Git, is that, you know, you can, multiple people can be editing the main project on their own branches simultaneously, and those changes can get pulled into the main project whenever they're ready. So I'm actually going to do a different command right now, and I'm going to git check out master. So the master branch is the name of the main branch that you want to keep up to date with the GitLab.com project at all times. You never make changes locally to master. Master is just there to keep the GitLab.com project up to date on your computer, and then you make branches from that. If you ever make a change to master, it's never going to get like you won't be able to merge it to GitLab.com. It won't. You can't. It won't change. So you want to make sure whenever you get into your terminal that you're starting off on master, and from there either navigating to an existing branch or starting a new branch. So now if I do git status again, like I said, you can type git status at any time if you're like, oh, I forgot to close my terminal last night and I don't know what branch I'm in, or, you know, 5 minutes ago I forgot what I was doing, and it will tell me now. And you can kind of compare it between here when I did git status and I was on this document edcast support branch versus here when I did it. Now I'm on master, and it tells me that my branch is up to date with origin master. This line does not necessarily mean that your local master is up to date with the master version on GitLab.com. In order to do that, and this is something I would suggest doing probably every morning before you use your terminal, is a command called git pull. So what git pull is going to do is it's going to reach out to the remote branch on GitLab.com. It's going to pull that whole branch to your local computer, and anything that matches the GitLab.com is going to just stay, because you can assume it hasn't been changed since the last time I updated, and so it's just going to remain the same. Anything that's changed is going to be pulled in as a change, and it's going to update your local version. So the command looks like this, git pull, but then you have to tell it what you want to pull, and you want to tell it where it's pulling from. So git pull is the beginning, and then we're telling it that we're pulling it from the origin, which is like the origin project on GitLab.com. And then we tell it the branch name. So git pull origin master is going to reach out to GitLab.com, say what's different online versus locally, and it's going to pull all those changes and make the update. I'm afraid to do it right now because sometimes it can be a lot of changes, and I don't want it to like slow our progress. So I'm just going to delete this. But essentially what happens, I actually recorded a demo of me doing this yesterday, and I did the whole thing. I just have to edit it because it took like 5 minutes. And so I have to edit that chunk out, and then I'll upload it to YouTube so you can see what the result of that is. Okay, so then and the reason that you want to stay up to date all the time is to avoid merge conflicts. And so merge conflict is going to happen when something locally that you change is different than the origin, the master branch. And then you're going to have to go back, fix it, figure out, what wasn't up to date, what is my branch missing. If you can just stay on top of it and keep your branch up to date all the time, you avoid merge conflicts. I'm going to pause. Am I making sense so far? Do you all have questions?
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah.
I'm just jotting down steps in the doc.
Yeah, for sure.
But it's really helpful.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Okay, so then now, assuming I just updated, I think I updated mine this morning. So it's, I'm pretty confident that people aren't going to go change if anyone was going to go change the pages I'm going to change, it would be you two. And I don't think you have this morning. So I'm not worried about updating it right now. So I'm just going to skip that git pull origin master step. And I'm going to move on to what I would do next. And I think the best thing is I'm just going to open up like a sample merge request and show you how I would start a merge request from here instead of starting a merge request on gitlab.com. So going back to like the way that you're editing gitlab.com project is in branches. So the first thing is that I need to open up a new branch and check out to that branch so that I am moving from the master version of the project to my own branch where I can make edits on the branch that I'm proposing be pulled into master. So the way that you do that is similar to this command before where I did git checkout and I told the branch that I wanted to check out to. The thing that's different about this time is the branch that I want to check out to doesn't exist yet. I have to create it. So the way that I do that, there's different ways, there's different commands that you can use. But the way I do it is git checkout -b, and this tells it like git checkout to a new branch. I'm creating a new branch, and then you name the branch. So I'm just going to call it test branch. You name it with this format, whatever word you use lowercase letters, and in between each word you use one single dash. And
do you create the branch name yourself, or is it okay, you just make it
up? So for example, up here I like to make my branch names, I think it's best practice really to make your branch names indicate what's happening in the branch. So in this branch that I was working on, I was documenting EdCast support workflows. And so I named the branch document EdCast support. Similar to a commit, when you want to, I think I do this too. At GitLab, I think we get lazy with commits and we just like update, and like commits are actually supposed to tell you what changes are being happened. So, or are being, proposed, so that you can go back and say like, oh, I see what happened, where update doesn't actually tell you, you could have updated anything if it just says update. So even I often will start my branch names with the word update, but I'll do like update GitLab learn admin docs. That would be like an example of a branch that I would name it. So I'm going to go back. I'm just going to keep calling this test branch. And so just to go over this command again, I'm saying I want to git checkout, which means I'm moving to a new branch. In this case, I'm creating a branch. So I do -b, and then I name the branch, and I'm doing it test-branch. And then I hit enter. And so now it tells me that I've switched to a new branch, and it's called test branch. And I can do git status if I want to confirm that I'm on the branch, test branch. There's nothing to commit, which means I haven't made any changes yet on this branch. The working tree is clean. So I'll show you what happens, what I can do to like change this status. Okay, so I've opened up a new branch. This is what I just did right there is essentially the same thing you do on gitlab.com when you click the button that says create merge request. When you go to create, like open a new merge request from the gitlab.com UI, you are creating a new branch. And I think it just names the branch by number. I'm not sure. I so rarely use it. I'm not sure if you can change the name of your branch on gitlab.com.
Yeah, you can.
You can.
Actually, they just recently changed it so that instead of just a number, it's like JBander dash number, because I think there were so many merge requests coming in at one time that like if we both opened one at the same time, it'd be the same number, and then we try to submit it and it won't go through.
Gotcha.
So
yeah, that's great. That makes a lot of sense.
But also makes us lazy because it just auto populates it for us.
yeah. Okay, so then now, so if you were on GitLab.com and you clicked create merge request, you would then navigate to the files that you wanted to change. So that's exactly what I'm going to do locally. So I'm going to open up my text editor, which I use Sublime, and I'm going to go find the file that I want to change in this merge request. So I go file, open, and then you have to navigate to the right file in the www.gitlab.com project, which can be a little bit of a pain because it's a little bit annoying, but you go to gitlab.com, www.gitlab-com, which is the gitlab.com project. And you go to sites. I'm just sorry, it like, it remembers where I am and I want to show you exactly how you get there. So you go to sites, handbook, source, and then handbook again. And then from here is where all of the groups across the GitLab organization are. So you find whoever owns the page that you're editing. If you're not sure, the URL for gitlab.com starts at this handbook, not this handbook. I don't know why you have to go sites, handbook, source, handbook.
It was changed. It didn't used to be that way.
Right. It used to be just in
source, handbook,
and
then it would be right from there.
And see, I don't know, like this is still all over there. I think these are empty. I think they haven't deleted these. So I don't know why. If you ever want to edit the blog, that's where the blog is. And then this marketing page is where I think this is where the culture page is. It is, this is annoying. And I actually think, Josh, I saw a note from Sid from some conversation with you about wanting to move that culture page over to the handbook.
Yeah.
But I think we're not moving it actually. Is it the asynchronous page? We're just like editing it where it is now, or is it need to be moved?
Yeah, I think it's all remote pages, but I think they'll stay where they are.
They'll just stay. Yeah. So if you ever are updating one of those pages, it's in this part, this company, and then it's in this like marketing folder. Scroll back up. But for this purpose, I'm just gonna say that we're like, I'm gonna mock edit one of our own pages in the handbook. So handbook source, sites, handbook, source, handbook, and then people group, and then learning and development. You can open it there, and then you see all of our sub pages, and this is like the main learning and development page. But like, if I go into GitLab Learn, I can see here are the sub pages of GitLab Learn, and then within each of those is the page. So for this, I'm just going to open up our main learning and development page, and then I'm gonna hit open. And then this is our page. This is the, the same thing you would see on gitlab.com in the UI of all of the content that's on our main page. So now that I'm on this branch, and also I realize we're at time. Do you all mind if I just keep going until 10:30, or do you have to go?
Yeah, I'll have to drop right at 10:30. I got a skill call, so.
Okay, I'll try to wrap this up quickly. So I'm on the right branch. I have the folder open. Now it's time to make an edit. So I'm just going to write the word test in here. I've made my edit, whatever, if you're opening new pages, if you are changing a lot of content, whatever you're doing, you do all of that. Sublime is nice because when it has this little gray dot up here, it means there's something that you've changed on this page that you haven't saved yet. So that's like a good catch. So then once I am done, and I would do this multiple times as I'm working, but once I've made it some single change that I'm ready to save and commit, I save the file, and then I come back to my terminal. And if I do git status check right now, it's going to tell me that I'm still on this branch, but there's some changes that are not staged yet for a commit. So it's telling me I've changed this file, but I haven't committed that change yet. So what I have to do is, submit a commit here that says change this or save this change. So the way that I do this in the terminal is with two different commands. So the first I do is git add -- all, and that's going to go to my branch. It's going to pick up all of the changes and it's going to add them to like this queue to get them ready to commit. And then I do a command to commit the changes. So I do git commit -am, and then I name my change. You can name it whatever you want. It's best practice to name it what you did. So this best practice would be like added test line to L&D page. You add it with these double quotations is the format of making a commit message, and then you hit enter. And it will tell you what it's done. So one file has changed and there's been 2 insertions because I hit enter once to add line 25 and then I wrote test on line 26. One thing to note with GitLab.com, whatever your first commit is going to be the name of your merge request on GitLab.com. So I have gotten into the habit of trying to make the name representative of what I want the MR to be named, but you can always change that when you get to GitLab.com. It's just like saving you a step if you make this first commit message pretty clear. So I would keep going, keep adding changes, commit, save the file, git add -- all, git commit -am, name my commit, keep going until I'm ready to push it to GitLab.com. And that will open a merge request on GitLab.com. So I'm going to check git status one more time to remind myself of the name of the branch. And now, similar to how we did a git pull command, now I'm going to do git push, which is I'm pushing something up to GitLab.com. So I would do git push origin and then the name of my branch. And if I hit enter on this, it will push my changes up to GitLab.com in a new merge request, where then I can, act on that merge request however I need to on GitLab.com. But I'll stop there because we're like right at 10:30, and then maybe I can do a recording of like what I would do next or some other scenarios that come up when you're editing locally. Whew.
That was awesome.
I hope that's helpful.
Yeah, I know it did for me. I mean, I was just taking notes like a madman in the doc. So I think it's just a matter of like playing around with it and getting a feel and then trying it out. I could see how it's a lot faster doing it that way though.
Yeah, I find it to be faster. So
yeah,
it's super similar to IDE if you've used Web IDE.
Mm-hmm.
That's true. And then when you open GitLab.com in the folder on your desktop, is that what's in the terminal, or is are they communicating with each other? Like, so that folder is updating as well. It's updated GitLab.com. Does that make sense?
Yes. So in the terminal, I've navigated like at the beginning where I was doing CD and then the folder name, I was kind of digging down into the project that I wanted to be working on. Now, when I'm editing these files, I'm editing them in that folder, but on a branch of that folder, not the actual project itself. The actual project itself keeps its integrity of the latest version, and you're making changes on a copy essentially of that project.
Got it. Okay, awesome. That was really helpful. I'm going